Yeah, good afternoon everyone. Good afternoon सानिया. So हमें ये पूछना था. अच्छा, गुड आफ्टरनून है अभी, तो इवनिंग कब होता है? एनीवन नो? 5 to 9 या 6 to 9? अच्छा, और रात में नाइट तो जाते हुए बोलते हैं ना, ऐसा कैसे?
इवनिंग।
इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग ही कहना चाहिए. ओके, सो वी
So
शुड
that's
से
what
गुड
we were
इवनिंग.
taught.
नहीं, to learn, what all to leave. Chalo. So fundamental rights in India. Okay. So in the yesterday's class, we just talked about these rights, and basically these rights are considered to be as the basic features of our Indian constitution. That means our Indian constitution basically is founded on the bedrock of these fundamental rights. Okay. Fundamental rights, dekho, for example, in the starting, it is the fundamental rights in our constitution is mentioned just in the starting only. In the starting, first restrictions on the powers of government is mentioned, then the government is basically given the powers. See, just see the magic of the constitution, or the way how it is written. It starts with restriction and ends with giving powers, right? So basic feature of our Indian constitution are these rights. Okay, right to equality, liberty, fraternity. So first is right to equality. Okay, without mentioning the article, these slides are prepared from the NCERT itself. So article as it is not mentioned here. So basically this is first right to equality. Okay, so article 14 talks about right to equality. So it says equality before the law and equal protection of the law. So what does that mean? That basically equality before the law and equal protection of the law. So this means, first of all, let us understand this phrase, equality before the law. So what does equality before the law means? It means that before the law everyone stands to be equal. That means howsoever high or low the person be, howsoever rich or poor the person be, of any caste, religion, color, race, or anything, so they shall be treated equal before the law. That is basically, this principle is derived from the principle of rule of law. So who should rule? According to this principle, who should rule? Whether the person should rule or the law should rule. So in our country, is this the rule of prime minister or president, or the rule of law? It is basically the rule of law. Because after getting elected as the head of the government or head of the state, the person himself or herself will always have to basically follow the law only. So that simply says that everyone shall be equal, subjected equally to the law of the land. Okay, are you getting my point? How many of you are able to understand? Just put a message in the chat box. Are you all able to understand what does this rule of law means?
Understood.
Sorry? Okay, you understood. So rule of law, this
Understand.
means that no person is above the law. There shall be no distinction between whether the person be the political leader or the government official or the ordinary citizen. Even the prime minister is subjected to the same law of the land as the ordinary citizens be. All right. So that is basically the rule of law. So now moving to the next point, that is now what is equal protection of the law. So equal protection of the law, let us just imagine one scenario. The scenario is that, for example, A is a child who belongs to SC community, is very poor, now just passed the 12th class examination. Okay, for example, is very poor, now just passed the 12th class examination. B in turn is a child, belong to general category, lives in Delhi, is rich, and also just passed the 12th class examination. Now, in both circumstances, A and B are having very different background, are belonging to very different categories, social categories. Now, what the government will do? The government will ask that now if both A and B have to basically do LLB course in India, they both will have to give the CLAT examination, will have to sit in the CLAT examination, and then will have to write the same exam. And basically on the basis of this exam, both will be either given to the admission to the college NLU or basically denied the admission. Now
Sir,
this is, listen first, just let me please complete this, okay, this case. Now in this case, this doctrine is as per rule of law. That means law should be equal for everyone. Both of them are subjected equally to the law of the land. Both of them are not at all discriminated. Now the case is that, is treating equally to both of them, is this just? No, this is not just. Why is this not just? This is not just because there is no level playing field in case of both of them. Now if there is no level playing field in case of both of them, how both of them shall be subjected equally to the law of the land? So here comes equal protection of the law. Equal protection of the law says that the government can reasonably classify the people into different categories. There can be reasonable classification. What should be there? There should be reasonable classification of the people based on reason, and different groups can be treated unequally as per their circumstances. That is based on the principle of equal protection of the law. Are you getting my point? So that means here equality before the law and equal protection of the law, both are mentioned under Article 14 of the Indian Constitution. Then comes Article 15. Article 15 is basically the doctrine, or not doctrine, basically is the article dealing with no discrimination. So the government, so the basically it is based on the NCRT notes. That's why the government word is written. Otherwise, in the constitution, the word instead of government, the word state is written. So state cannot discriminate against citizens on the basis only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. आ रही है बात समझ में? So these are the grounds on the basis of which the government cannot discriminate among people. This is basically based on Article 15 of the Indian Constitution. Next is equality in public places. So public places dealt under Article 15 only. ठीक है? So that is subclause 2. Clause 2, sorry. So Article 15 clause 2 states that every citizen has equal access to shop, hotels, restaurants, cinema halls, roads, playground, well, tank, bathing ghats. So no one shall be discriminated from having access to these places on the basis only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. This provision is necessary, was necessary basically because, yes, Ashutosh, you were saying something, na? Oh, sorry. Yes, please do tell me now.
sir, I was saying that you all explained, sir, that all is bookish language because according to Indian Constitution, it is flexible and MPs can amend the articles whatever they don't want.
But I couldn't understand your question. What is your question? Yes, you are right that the constitution can be amended. Not just MPs, don't use the word MPs, but rather use the word the parliament. The parliament collectively by 2 by third of the majority, that is called a special majority, they can amend the constitution. But now what's your question in this? Yes, Ashutosh, hello. Am I audible or not?
Yes, so you're audible.
Audible. Okay, so Ashutosh, please do write the question, and whenever you are comfortable, you can speak. Then, है ना? I got your point, but please repeat
Sir,
the
I
question.
was asking then how the Indian equality before the law, how is it there, sir?
How
When
is it?
MPs possible, sir, when MPs can easily amend that.
Okay, you are saying that. Okay. So you are basically asking when MPs can change the constitution, can amend the constitution, then how is there a rule of law or equality before the law? Because we cannot change, but they can change. Is this your question?
Yes, sir.
See, this is not true because, um, just give me a second. Huh. So basically what happens is there is a word called as sovereignty. Okay. So sovereignty is a word that stands for supreme power. Okay. So supreme power in every matter. Okay. So in our country, when you will ask where is supreme power, so I would say supreme power is basically in the hands of people. Okay, because in our country people are supreme, because the preamble of the Indian constitution also starts with the word that is we the people. It is not saying the we the government, या फिर the government of the, या फिर constituent assembly, we the constituent assembly. No, that is simply saying we the people. That means the ultimate sovereignty or the ultimate power is here in hands of people only. Now talking about this, because the sovereignty is in the hands of people, but the question here comes that how this sovereignty has to be exercised. Who will exercise this sovereignty? Because in our country the population is very high, people are not even having expertise in the constitutional matters, and neither having the time or procedure of how everyone will take this participation in the decision making in the country. So it is best done is basically elections are conducted. Okay, elections are conducted. By elections, members of parliament are chosen. Members of parliament on the behalf, because they are the representatives of the people only. So this sovereignty is exercised by the, is basically held by the people of this country, but exercised by the MPs. So whatever MPs are basically deciding sitting in the parliament, whatever MPs are doing sitting in the parliament, they are not representing their will. They are basically representing the will of the people of the country. Getting the point? They are basically representing what the people of the country wants. They are not at all representing what they want. It's not their personal wish, it's not their personal choice, neither their personal interest. It is the interest of the country. Getting the point? Now able to understand why it is not that basically
Yes,
they have some special status. It is that they have this status to amend the constitution because people collectively have given them this status to basically change, amend the constitution, right? And in turn, yes, certainly by being the member of parliament they enjoy certain privileges, and that is now part not of the equality before the law, but that is basically part of equal protection of the law, right? Because equal protection of the law states that yes, people, some people, because of their circumstances can be given some special opportunities. Okay, right? Any further question?
no, sir.
Okay, all right. So equality in public employment, that is Article 16 of Indian Constitution, that talks about equality in public employment. It says that all the citizens have equal opportunity in government jobs. In government job, for getting selected, everyone shall enjoy equal opportunity. Okay, no discrimination in recruitment on prohibited grounds. And what are those prohibited ground? Religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, even residence, descent. So these are basically the grounds prohibited under Article 16, on the basis of which the discrimination cannot be done. Okay. Reservation and equality. So it is also stated that there shall be reservation for SC community, ST community, OBC community, and for women, poor, disabled person, not against equality. So if the parliament makes some law for providing reservation or special opportunity for these category of people, then it is basically not against the constitution. Okay, now reason is that equality does not mean equal treatment to all. It means that equal opportunity must be given, and sometimes some special support must be given to people who require that special support. Okay, now coming on to this point, this is basically Article 17 of the Indian Constitution. Article 17 states for abolition of untouchability. It says that untouchability in any of its forms shall be abolished. Okay, this is an absolute article, no reasonable restriction. It says that untouchability is a very extreme form of social discrimination and it must be completely prohibited. A complete prohibition must be there on untouchability. Okay, and untouchability basically includes that the people are denied the access to the public places. Social exclusion happens also on the basis of birth. So practicing untouchability is a punishable offense. Okay, next is right to freedom. Okay, so right to freedom, article 19 says that there shall not be any kind of unnecessary restrictions, okay, on the freedom of the people. So from the NCRT only, in that line is basically mentioned in political theory class 11th NCRT, okay, of polity. So in that NCRT, in the definition of what liberty stands for, it is mentioned, and from that first line only, in 2021 UPSC has asked a direct question in prelims examination, that what does liberty stands for. So such kind of questions can be definitely asked directly from these NCRTs, picking the lines from here. So that's why I always recommend to make very short notes of the definitions or things written in the NCRT. Okay, so it implies that no undue or unreasonable interferences by individuals or the government must be there on the people, okay, on their right to freedom. Okay, so citizens wants to live in society and remain free. Okay, and freedom does not mean doing anything without limits. Now this is a point, this is a reasonable restriction. Now article 19 says that everyone shall enjoy freedom. Now enjoying freedom is not like, and everyone must be given right of doing what they want to do. It is not the freedom. If everyone will be allowed for doing what they want to do, that will create anarchy, that will create chaos in the society. Okay, so best is that here it talks about basically giving there shall be no undue restrictions. Okay, now for example, you are sitting in class. Okay, now sitting in class, it is a kind of a restriction on your freedom. You are basically restricted to a particular designated space. You cannot move, you cannot shout, you cannot talk in the class. This is a kind of a restriction on your freedom, but this is a not a undue restriction. This is a reasonable restriction. So article 19 just prohibits undue restriction. It permits those kinds of restrictions which are required. Getting the point? So those undue restrictions are only prohibited. Now next is freedom guaranteed by the constitution. So what are the types of freedom? Freedom of speech and expression, freedom to assemble peacefully and without arms at any public land, freedom to form associations or any kind of unions, freedom to move freely throughout the territory of the country, freedom to reside and settle in any part of the country, and even freedom to practice any profession or carry out any occupation, trade or business. So these are the types of freedoms that are guaranteed by the constitution under article 19. Okay, moving ahead, what are the limits on your freedom? Now, one person's freedom cannot violate another's freedom. So it is often said that now your right to use or fly the sword ends where my nose begins. Means you have the right to use your sword. It's just basically imagination only, which says कि आपके पास you have the right to do whatever you want, but you can only do the things that you want up to the extent that my nose begins. That means you cannot restrict my freedom to do my activities. Okay, you can play music in your house or your home, okay, but your right to play the music must not disturb me, must not violate my right to sleep peacefully. Getting the point? So there shall be a balance. Okay, now it says that there are limits also on the freedom of the people. One's freedom cannot violate another's freedom. Freedom should not cause any kind of public nuisance. Freedom must not disturb or create disorder in the society. Freedom must not give rise to any kind of violence, because people may utter some unwanted things and might incite violence. That should not happen, right? Freedom is not unlimited, is not an unlimited license. Okay, freedom is not a license to do whatever you want to do. No, that's not the case. Okay, now the government can impose reasonable restrictions in the interest of public order, morality and security of the state. So these are the grounds on the basis of which some sort of reasonable restrictions can be imposed by the government. Okay, now freedom of speech and expression. So talking about the freedom of speech and expression, it is the core feature of democracy. What is freedom of speech and expression? It's the main and the core most important feature. It helps in development of ideas, growth of personality and expression of dissent. What does that mean? That means what is the main purpose of freedom of speech and expression? So the main purpose is that, for example, we speak in our own languages. Speech does not just helps in communication, it basically helps in expression of what we feel, what we see. For example, what happens is when we speak or leave speaking, just talking about art, when an artist draws, any one of you draw, any one of you like drawing? If yes, please respond. If करते हो कुछ भी नहीं, बचपन में वो सीनरी नहीं बनाई है, वो तो सब बनाते हैं, है ना? Any of one of you is artist?
I paint sometimes.
So you paint, you might relate it well. देखो, what happens is when we start painting na, it is not just we randomly paint anything. It is basically what we feel or what we imagine. By painting it, it is our expression of our imagination. Getting the point? It is that we are expressing what we are imagining in our mind. That is expression, right? So freedom of speech and expression helps in development of several ideas in our mind. It helps in the growth of our personality, and even it helps in expression of dissent. Then sometimes what happens is we dissent from others. Okay, so how to express that dissent? We type messages, we type emojis, ना गुस्से वाला emoji भेजोगे. What does that गुस्से वाला emoji means? What does that heart means? It is a way of showing love or affection to someone by using that emoji. Cry wala, you are feeling something and you are expressing whether your dissent or your love or your affection, है ना? So citizens are free to even criticize the government's policies, express their view by even using conversation, or whether it be pamphlet, newspaper or magazines. It is basically a method of art, poetry or song. But yes, restrictions are there. You cannot express yourself to the extent up to incite violence. You cannot encourage rebellion, or you cannot defame others with any kind of false statements. Okay, so these are reasonable restrictions. Now, freedom of talking about freedom of assembly. What is freedom of assembly? It is part of Article 19 itself. Okay, so it says the anyone or citizens can hold meeting, rallies, possession or demonstration on public ground, not the private property but on the public property. Okay, sarkari property. Okay, so but the condition is it should be peaceful. It must not be having any element of violence. No weapons are allowed basically. Okay, so this is a restriction that you cannot carry weapons. Okay, and should not disturb the public peace. It must not disturb the peace and tranquility that is there in the society. Okay, freedom to form association. Now this freedom to form association is citizens can form groups. Okay, they can form groupings, they can form unions. Okay, so for example, workers forming the trade union, citizens forming the association to combat the corruption, pollution or anything like that. Boring lag raha hai? Is this boring? तो चेहरा ऐसा क्यों बनाया हुआ है? अच्छा, what were you thinking? बताओ मुझे भी. अपलोड किए? हाँ हाँ, नहीं मिली क्या? You people got the PDF? हाँ जी.
No, sir.
हाँ? No?
No, sir. Couldn't find it. No, sir.
Do one thing. Let me just ask them. या उन्होंने शायद भेजा है मुझे. एक सेकेंड. I am typing a email. Just mail this concern on this email. Okay, I'm typing one email. Okay, that's admin team @plutusias.com. ठीक है, just mail your concern there. या फिर one more ID is there. This. Mail this concern over there. Okay, यहाँ पर इस concern को जो है मेल करो. They will basically, अब आपको अगर आगे की भी चाहिए होगी ना, if you will be needing the PPTs for the further classes that I haven't provided, so just mail here. They will ask me to send. Okay, and then I will send them. Okay, so yeah. At the beginning of the class, you should have told me that you didn't got the PDFs, because
Sir, I
these are very
already told you
required.
yesterday.
Huh?
Sir, I already told you yesterday.
हाँ, you told me yesterday na, but I told you na to check on that section test on your portal. There must have been the section of test. Then below
Actually,
that,
I
because
tried
I
to
was told.
contact admin team,
Huh?
but they didn't answer. Sir, I tried to contact them, but they didn't answer, sir.
No, they will answer. Just drop a mail there. Okay, they will answer. Okay, just drop a mail over. Keep the first email ID on main and then CC or BCC to the another ID. Then you will get the response. Okay. Now coming on to the next. This is freedom to form association. Okay, now freedom to form association is basically anyone. For example, the traders or the farmers, they basically forms association, so it is for that. Okay, Now, freedom of movement, residence, or occupation. Now, talking about this is that the citizens can travel to any part of the country. Okay, they can travel to anywhere. There is actually no restriction on them to travel to any part. Okay, so they are free to even settle anywhere. Okay, in India, so they can settle anywhere. Even this enables migration from village to cities. Okay, there is no restriction on the people to migrate from one place to another place in search of job or any other thing. There is movement from poorer to the prosperous region. Okay, this happens. So how is this possible that this thing is happening? This thing is happening actually because we have a constitutionally guaranteed fundamental right that as a citizen of this country you can freely move throughout any part of the territory of the country. So now you have also the freedom of occupation. No one can be forced into any particular job, or basically women cannot be restricted from certain provisions. All right, so this is a guarantee of occupation. Deprived caste cannot be confined to traditional occupation. They basically during the historical time they used to do some menial works, okay, cleaning type of activities. Okay, so now they cannot be confined to those activities only. They also have the guarantee or constitutional guarantee as part of Article 19 to adopt any profession or occupation whatever they want. Next is protection of life and personal liberty. Article 21 of Indian Constitution. Very important article, that no one can be deprived of life and liberty except according to the procedure established by law. What does that mean? That your life and personal liberty cannot be denied. You have the right to life and personal liberty. No one can take your right or personal liberty, right? But there is one restriction on this, that according to the procedure established by law. That means if law prescribes any particular procedure, that according to this procedure, for example, there is one BNS, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, earlier it was IPC. That is a law made by parliament. Now parliament by making law can tell the procedure how the life of a person can be denied. For example, gang rape cases, for example, cases amounting to murders. In those cases, if those cases are heinous in nature, because rape case in itself a rare of the rarest crime and is very heinous in nature, gang rape is of the utmost urgent matter need to be addressed. In that case, it is mentioned that whosoever commits such thing can be sentenced to death. Okay, death penalty can be given. So that is basically a procedure of taking someone's life that can only be done by parliament only, right? So safeguards during arrest. So basically this is also there, because for example, while the police or the authorities arrest someone, the person must be informed of why he or she has been arrested. They must be informed of the grounds of their arrest, must be produced before a magistrate within 24 hours. लेट हो गए, कोई बात नहीं, बैठो बैठो. कब खत्म होता है कॉलेज? हाँ, गेस्ट लेक्चर था किसका? कौन आए थे? अच्छा, क्या है वो? क्या है वो? गीता नहीं, दैट्स गीतम. वो गीतम होगी, दैट्स लोकेटेड नियर बाय हैदराबाद. अच्छा, एचओडी है वहां के. नाइस नाइस. तो अच्छा सीखने को मिला होगा उनसे. गुड गुड, यू शुड अटेंड सच सेमिनार्स और लेक्चर्स. आपके में होते हैं, होते होंगे, आते होंगे, है ना? तो चलो अब देखो, तो बेसिकली वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द फंडामेंटल राइट्स. So this is safeguard during arrest. So in case of arrest of someone, he must be informed of why he or she has been arrested. Another thing is that, for example, a person is arrested. For example, A is arrested at 5 a.m. in the morning. Okay, on let's suppose 2nd Feb. So it is constitutionally mandatory that before 5 a.m. on 3rd Feb, he or she must be brought before the judiciary, court, before the magistrate. Now the magistrate will decide whether the person has to be sent to back to the police or to the jail. Okay, that is why it is said that do not commit any crime on Saturday, because on Sunday the judges are on leave. You will have to be in the police station for 2 days. Only on Monday you will be taken to the magistrate. Okay, so that's a case. So don't no never commit crime, but especially on Saturday. ठीक है, तो इसीलिए इट इज सेड. चलो अब आगे देखो. खैर ये तो मजाक की बात है. So has the right to consult and be defended by a lawyer. You cannot say that the person who has been arrested will not be given any lawyer. No, that's his fundamental right. He has the right to be consulted by a legal counsel. Right against exploitation. So it says that equality, not this doesn't say, but it is generally accepted that equality and liberty stands to be meaningless if people are exploited. For example, you are giving everyone liberty, you are giving everyone equality, but exploitation of those people is happening. What's the use of such kind of equality? Not at all. No use of such equality or liberty, right? So basically, this is Article 24. So that talks about trafficking in human being and the forced labor. Okay, trafficking in human being should be stopped, and forced labor, that is called as begar system. Trafficking of human being means buying and selling of human being as objects. Earlier what used to happen was, आप लोग के पास क्या stream था? Humanities. बाप रे. PC. इतने खतरनाक सब कैसे पढ़ते हो यार? मेरे पास भी वैसे PCB था. आप लोगों के पास क्या था? ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स. इतना सब यार. PCMB तो नहीं था किसी के पास? मैं तो डर ही जाऊंगा यार सुन करके अगर किसी के पास PCMB था तो, है ना? तो you people don't communicate. That's not right thing. There are many students online just listening, not communicating. This becomes this. I just feel like talking to a blank screen. Okay, so that's not
So
interesting.
are you referring to the 12 studies?
Sorry,
Are you referring to the 12 studies?
12 studies. Yeah, 12th. Yes, I was referring to 11th and 12th. Yeah, so chalo, let's move ahead. Okay, so this talks about traffic in human being. What used to happen was basically it also deals with that organ wala trafficking. Okay, now what happens? Buying and selling of human being, and mostly prevalent in case of child and women. Okay, childs are basically, children are trafficked for illegal activities. Okay, and those women are trafficked for immoral activities, sexual exploitation, prostitution, and all. Okay, now this has been declared as illegal by the constitution, right? There is something called as forced labor also. Forced labor, what used to happen was, for example, you have taken 100 rupees from someone, from a big zamindar or something like that. Now, in return of that, the zamindar has imposed a 400 rupees penalty or interest on you. Now, 500 in total, your salary is 50 rupees. It stands to be impossible for you to repay it. Now, what will happen? What used to happen was, they were not at all flexible that you just pay in installments. No, that's not possible. Now, what they used to do is, they will bring you up to their place. Now they will ask you to do their work. Okay, and in return of that, they will not even pay you. ये च्युइंगम नहीं खाते हैं क्लास में, गलत बात है. अच्छा नहीं, अभी कोई बात नहीं, अभी ऐसा कोई चलो, इससे वैसे क्या कुछ बेनिफिट होता है क्या? मोंटू, मोंटू, एसी ऑफ कर दो। हाँ हाँ, तो अब देखो, नेक्स्ट इज बेसिकली कि work taken without payment. So in return of that, they are basically not given payments. Okay, they will just have to basically work in return of no payments, right? Called as Begar system. We think it was just existing in the time when the Britishers were ruling during the time of Zamindari, Zagirdari, Mahalwadi, not Mahalwadi, but Zamindari, Zagirdari. But this used to happen even after independence also. So to abolish this completely, this provision was added. Okay. Coming on to child labor, so no child below the age of 14 years can ever be employed in any factory, mine, or any kind of hazardous occupation. Yes, few exception lies. For example, if in a business, and the business is basically the family business. For example, a dhaba owned by the family member on the side of the road, a motel, a hotel, or something like that. Or for example, the children who are basically engaged in those. फिर कहीं खो गए आप, थोड़े से खो गए ना, क्या सोच रहे हो अब, क्या सोच रहे हो? अरे यही सुन रहे हो ना? नहीं, पिछली बार जो सोचा था ना आपने, वो काम की चीज थी, मेरे को लगा आप दोबारा कुछ सोच रहे हो। वो तो होंगे भी नहीं। योर पर्पस शुड बी फॉर ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स ऑल्सो, whosoever is watching this, what you have to do is, just for example, this slide is there visible to you, just write
Sir,
something.
I had to ask a doubt.
Yes, please do ask me the doubt. Yes.
You said that a person who commits crime needs to be presented in front of magistrate, so
Yes.
that magistrate to, so that magistrate should be district magistrate or court judge.
Judicial magistrate, that is called as DJM, district judicial magistrate. Okay, so there are two types of courts. In civil courts, this thing doesn't happen. Okay, very rare, with few cases related to civil offenses. In that case also this thing happens. For example, you have committed a property fraud, a financial fraud. Okay, so that is a civil offense against a next second party. Okay, need not to go deep into this, but just for example, there is a civil offense. In case of civil offense, civil judges are there, but in case of criminal offenses, session courts are there, and in session courts,
Sir, what is the difference between both the magistrate?
let us not understand the difference between those between, sorry, what you asked?
Sir, between district magistrate and that court judge.
Don't consider that magistrate as DM, district magistrate नहीं, district magistrate तो अलग है, दिस इज डिस्ट्रिक्ट जुडिशियल मजिस्ट्रेट। अच्छा, जो बनना चाह रहे हो उसी को इमेजिन कर रहे हो? नहीं नहीं, जो आप बनना चाह रहे हो ना, वो डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर है, वो डीएम है, वो डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट है। दिस इज बेसिकली, वो तो रेवेन्यू कलेक्टर होते हैं, मतलब ट्रेडिशनली अगर बात करें, ऑल्दो वो तो बहुत चीजें करते हैं, बट वो कलेक्टर है, वो तो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को देखते हैं। बट जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, जिनके सामने ले जाया जाएगा, दैट इज जुडिशियल मजिस्ट्रेट। आई डिडंट से डीएम, आई से डीजेएम, डिस्ट्रिक्ट जुडिशियल मजिस्ट्रेट। ठीक है, जुडिशियल ऑफिसर्स होते हैं वो। ओके,
Okay,
अलग अलग
sir.
होते हैं। हाँ, यस, क्लियर हो गई बात आपको भी? ठीक है। तो अब देखिए आगे, तो चाइल्ड लेबर, हाँ एक और है, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल वो नहीं देखा छोटे छोटे बच्चे सीरियल्स में काम करते हैं, वो अलाउड है. दैट इज बेसिकली द आर्ट एंड लिटरेरी वाला काम, दैट इज अलाउड. ठीक है, वो नहीं वैसा होता. ठीक है, several laws made to enforce this prohibition. So acha, एक point to be noted here is which body can make laws to enforce these fundamental rights? Parliament. Legislature you said? Parliament मतलब उसमें state नहीं, state legislatures नहीं, only parliament. हाँ, better word is, you are not wrong, but better word is union legislature. ठीक है. So right to freedom of religion. Now you also have the right to freedom of religion. India is a secular country. What does secularism in our country means? Does that means every religion are equal? No, that is not right. Okay, every religion is not at all equal. Why to call every religion as equal? No, that's not right. Otherwise people will be hurt, है ना? It will be a hurt to the sentiments of the people. Okay, why to call? Because everyone consider their religion as superior, है ना? That's a different thing. Okay, but secularism means that the religion whatsoever be will be your personal religion. For example, there is a person A. Now the religion of this person is his personal. Everyone's religion is their personal affair. Okay, the state will be having no religion. India will be having no religion. There will be no religion of India. Are you getting the point? Of Bharat. There will be no religion of Bharat, but there can be religion of people. And the state will maintain equal distance from all the religions. Okay, will
Sir,
not
one
just.
question.
हाँ जी पूछिए, प्लीज डू आस्क द क्वेश्चन.
Sir, you said the state will not be having any religion, but the PM is having religion, but he is representing the state, so why?
But who is having religion? Who is having religion? Voice. 1 second, voice.
Of the state. Sir, the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister. Okay. So
Hello.
Prime Minister has his
Prime-
personal religion, but when the Prime Minister is representing the state, India, he is not Narendra Modi, he is the Prime Minister of India. And as the Prime Minister of India, he is not having any religion. Are you getting the point? When he is standing there with the other leaders, he is not Narendra Modi. He is not Narendra Damodar Das Modi. He is Prime Minister of India. How will he be recognized there? He will be recognized as the Prime Minister. And Prime Minister has no religion. Narendra Modi can have his own religion, but Prime Minister is not having any religion. This means that the state will maintain equal distance from all the religions. Okay, the government is neutral and impartial to all the religious matters, right? फ्रीडम ऑफ रिलीजन तो कई सारे आर्टिकल्स में है कॉन्क्लूसिवली. फॉर एग्जाम्पल हम बात करें 29, 30, सॉरी 26, 27, 28, all these article talks about freedom of religion only. ठीक है, it gives us the right to profess, practice and propagate our religion. What does that means? Profess means basically you can declare yourself to be belonging to any religious group. Okay, no problem in that. You can declare yourself to be Hindu, Buddhist or whatsoever religion you want to profess. Okay, declare. It is basically declaratory. And here practice means you can follow the practices of any religion. No problem in that. Next is propagate. You can basically peacefully, without force, coercion, you can propagate the ideals of your religion to other people. Okay, that's also possible. No problem in that also. Are you getting the point? Right? Okay. Every religious group can manage its own religious affairs. Okay. Now, reasonable restrictions are also there. You cannot use force, fraud, or undue influence or inducement or allurance to someone for changing their religion. Okay, you cannot do that. A person may change his religion voluntarily, but involuntary thing using fraud, using force, using inducement or allurement, what the Christian missionaries in our country do, they basically just give the people the allurement that come to our religion, profess our religion, we will give you atta, chawal, dal. One very little kid of he was the child of the maid who used to work at my place. So basically I saw one day when locket was there in her neck. ठीक है, in his neck, his होता है ना लड़का, हाँ इतनी इंग्लिश अच्छी नहीं है. So in his neck, so I asked him why you wearing this. So he just told me that आटा मिलेगा ये पहनने से, आटा मिलेगा, दाल मिलेगा, है ना. सो व्हाट पीपल आर डूइंग इज पीपल आर बेसिकली गिविंग allurements, है ना. They are basically saying that you will get this much money, property or something like that and just come to our religion. Okay, so that's very wrong. That's not at all right. Okay, now coming on to next point, that is religious freedom does not allow human animal sacrifices. Religious freedom does not allow practices that treat women inferior, and even religious freedom does not allow practices that violate women's dignity or freedom. Okay, so such things are not at all allowed. Okay, states neutrality in religion, I just told you, have a read of it. पढ़ो इसको, पहले पढ़ लो. हाँ जी, इसको पढ़ लो एक बार पहले. स्टेट किसी को कोई फेवर, स्टेट विल नॉट फेवर एनीवन, स्टेट विल नॉट डिस्क्रिमिनेट ऑन बेसिस ऑफ एनी ग्राउंड, स्टेट विल नॉट फोर्स एनीवन टू बेसिकली pay the tax for promoting any religion. So on temples there cannot be any tax. There can be fees. You must have visited temples, for example Vaishno Mata Mandir, Kedarnath temple. So their fees can be there because fees is basically used for developmental activities inside the temple, but taxes cannot be there. अच्छा पढ़ रहे हो, अरे बाप रे डिस्टर्ब कर दिया, पढ़ो पढ़ो. Now this is also there that in the educational institutions there are all several categories that you will study in the polity classes. That for example, if it's the government institution, you cannot force anyone. Okay, you cannot basically, neither you cannot give religious instructions in government institutions. In government funded institutions, but private, you cannot force anyone. But in private institution, it's on you. Basically, you can give the religious instruction. So those categories are there. Okay. So cultural and educational rights are also there. So some special protection for minorities is given. So democracy naturally gives power to majority. What happens, for example, from a particular constituency, if their elections are happening and A, B and C are the contender to the post of MP, for example. Now naturally what will happen, one community, so basically there might be different communities, but A, B or C, only one person will win. For example, A gets 70% votes. Naturally it is true that the majority will win. In our country we have adopted first past the post system, FPTP system. FPTP system generally gives preference to majority community. Now, majority community basically is the natural winner in the democracy, but democracy doesn't lies on the credential of majority. Democracy simply means that the minority language, culture, and religion need special protection. We cannot deny the minority their rights. Minority community must also be given their due rights, their due share. Okay. Moving ahead is rights of minorities. Now, cultural protection. So, any group with any kind of distinctive language, okay, if any particular group is having any distinctive language or culture, it has the right to preserve it. It has the right to basically preserve that particular distinct language or culture. And in matters of education, no discrimination shall be there, and basically no one can be denied of admission in government or government aided institution on the ground of religion or language. Okay, educational institutions, for example, minorities can establish and administer their educational institutions of their choice. For example, the Christian minorities in the country can basically administer or establish their own institutions. Okay, so these minorities has the right to basically form, for example, schools, colleges, madrasas, or something like that. Okay. पढ़ लिया? कर लूं डिस्टर्ब? कर लो डिस्टर्ब? हाँ, डिस्टर्ब कर रहा हूं मैं अभी तो कहा। तो देखो अब, सो मीनिंग ऑफ माइनॉरिटी। अब माइनॉरिटी क्या है? तो माइनॉरिटी केवल नेशनल लेवल पे नहीं होती, माइनॉरिटी स्टेट वाइज होती है। ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अब बात करेंगे अगर जैसे इन द एंटायर कंट्री 6 आर इन माइनॉरिटी, बट वाइल टॉकिंग अबाउट Punjab, 6 are in majority. There Hindus are in minority. Going to Arunachal Pradesh, Hindus are in minority. Right? So somewhere some particular communities can be in minority, and at other states they can be in majority. So that depends on the states. Okay. Moving ahead, how can we secure these rights? So basically there should be a mechanism. So providing you people right will not help you. For example, I just say that you are having this and that right. How will that help you? There should be a mechanism, na? In case it is violated, you can go somewhere. So there should be a mechanism, right? Isn't it? A mechanism must be properly at place. Okay. So seeing this, there is a right of constitutional remedies. Okay. A right of constitutional remedies must be basically has been given by the constitution. What does that mean? That means that if in case of, now let us understand one thing. Okay. So article 32 talks about right to constitutional remedies. What does that says? That says that in case of violation of fundamental rights, in case of violation of fundamental right, you can, or basically when your any other right is violated. For example, right to property is there in article 300A of Indian Constitution. In case that is violated, you will first go to the district court, you will first go to basically lower court, then if not satisfied by their judgment, you will then go to higher court. Okay, now in this case, if any article 32 says that if any fundamental right is violated, you can directly go to the Supreme Court of India under article 32. Okay, now there is one more article also. Article 32 says this thing only, but there is one more article. Article 226. What does this says? In case of violation of your fundamental rights, you can directly go to high courts. Okay, any of the high court where the right is violated. Now what happens is the Supreme Court and the High Court basically issues a order for reinstating fundamental rights. That particular order is called as writs. क्या बोलते हैं इसको? What do we call these orders to reinstate the fundamental rights? We call it writs. Now writs are of 5 types: habeas corpus, mandamus, quo warranto, certiorari, prohibitionary. We will learn this in the next in upcoming classes, but just for your information, for the reinstatement of the fundamental rights, the writs are basically issued, and these writs are of 5 types. These writs can be issued by Supreme Court as well as by High Courts. The writs that Supreme Court issues, High Court issues, that is somewhat wider, because Article 226 says that you can approach to High Court directly for the violation of fundamental right as well as other rights also. But in Supreme Court, you can only approach to Supreme Court in case of violation of your fundamental rights only. Right? Got the point? Clear hai ye baat? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. All right. Nice. Someone responded. That's good. Sania responded. Good. Very good. Okay. Now moving ahead. Yeah, protection against government's action. So I told you na, this happens only. So basically it is ki whenever your rights are violated, so who has the probability to who has the capacity to violate your rights? So it is basically legislature, executive, or any of the government authorities. So basically in our constitution, in every fundamental right except very few, the word is written state. ठीक है, the word which is written is state. State shall not, state shall, है ना? So basically this state, now what is the definition of this state? What is the definition of this word state? This definition is mentioned in Article 12 of the Indian Constitution. So fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution is mentioned in Article 12 to Article 35 of Indian Constitution. Now the beginning happens with Article 12, and Article 12 itself states the definition of state, which says that legislature, executive, or any other government authority is basically comprising of the word state, and fundamental rights are guaranteed against whom? Against these bodies collectively. Okay, no law or the government action can violate fundamental right. This is mentioned in Article 13 of Indian Constitution, that is also called as judicial review. What does judicial review means? So judicial review means that if any law or order, by order, or anything given by the state is contrary to the fundamental rights, the judiciary can declare it null and void, or we can say the courts can declare it invalid. So that is basically called as judicial review. Okay, understood? All right. Citizens can challenge what? Citizens can challenge any law that is made by center or state government. Citizens can challenge any government policy and action. And citizens can challenge any action of the government bodies like bank or electricity board. All right. Moving ahead,
Sir,
there
can
is
you
something called
please
as yes.
explain the last point from the previous slide?
You want to write?
No, sir. I want you to
No.
explain.
Okay. You want to understand. That is basically, now I just told you that the definition of state is mentioned in Article 12. That means we have the fundamental rights against the action of state. Now only legislature, executive doesn't comes under the definition of state. The state here also means the bodies that are basically working on behalf of the state. For example, there is a body called as Life Insurance Corporation, LIC. So LIC being a body is basically the majority shareholder in LIC is the government only. So that body will also be categorized as a government body. For example, any electricity board, any other body, PSU, for example, ONGC. Okay, so these are the bodies that are basically working as a part of government only. So we have the fundamental rights against these bodies also. Okay, if in case these bodies violates our fundamental right, we can still go to the courts. All right?
Got it, sir.
Clear na pakka?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, all right, all right, all right. Yeah, so next is PIL. Now, what is PIL? Now, these ambits of the fundamental right has been broadened. Now, what does PIL means? For example, there is an issue. Okay, there is a particular issue. Now, what happens is, for that, for example, now issue like there is a dispute between A and B. There happened a fight between A and B, for example, let's suppose. Now, what has happened, like for the fight between A and B, now you are C. You went to the court and said that, see, I saw A and B fighting. And you said that I saw A and B fighting, and A, what A did, A was basically, A has slapped B. Now you said that A has slapped B. In that case, the court will basically, the court will ask you that what is your stand in this? The court will ask you, A and B are fighting, A slapped B, B got hurt. Now, why are you coming? That is called as locus standi. What is your locus standi on this issue? है ना? तो that was basically a question. ठीक है? तो अब now here the question is basically, what is your stand on this? Now here comes the main point. Now, okay, this was a private dispute between two parties. Okay, in case, what if in case the rights of many people is being violated? In case where the rights of, let's say, all the people living nearby the railway lines, all the people living in Delhi, all the people living in basically the polluted city of Delhi, all the people basically crippling with the healthcare emergency in the government hospitals, all the people living in slum areas not having access to clean water. So what in those case where those people, mass of people, many people whose rights have been violated, they cannot go to the court. So the Supreme Court, especially by some judges, for example, Justice P.N. Bhagwati, they basically initiated this concept and stated that in case the rights of many mass of the people, here somewhere it must have been written, is violated, in that case, and the issue is of social interest and public interest, so in that case any citizen or group can approach the court. Are you getting my point? Any citizen or group can approach the court. Clear?
Only, sir, they can approach only when their rights are violated, no?
Yes. Preventive approachment is not possible. No. It's not article. It's not on the basis of article 32. But this is not a part of fundamental rights. This is separate right. PIL. Yes. Any other doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So basically here any citizen or group can approach the court. Feature is that can be filed against government law or action, and any citizen can approach the Supreme Court or High Court, and even not a formal advocate or something like that is required. Even a single letter or a postcard can be posted on the name of the judge of the court, and it can basically initiate such action. Okay, so such litigations are called as PIL. Now, fundamental rights are not the only right enjoyed by the citizen. There are other rights also. Basically, deliberately, for example, Article 21 talks about right to life and personal liberty. But by several court judgments, for example, the Supreme Court in several judgments, in Anuradha Bhasin judgment, they stated that basically right to internet is also a part of Article 21. Okay, right to privacy is also part of Article 21. Right to clean air, sanitation, health, these all are part of Article 21. They have, for example, stated that if, let's suppose, there are two human beings, one human being is, or basically there is one human being and one animal. If this human being is just left in a blank room, in a closed room, where he is denied of all the basic necessities, but just no one is killing him, is this the right to life? Then what's the difference between an animal and a human? No difference, na? So a human does not only desires right to life, it desires something more than that. So by the deliberate court judgments, democratic struggles, and social and economic changes, the ambit of these rights have been broadened. These are now broadened up, and this is basically called as expanding scope of the rights. The scope of these rights are getting expanded day by day. Okay, deliberately so many expansions are happening. For example, right to freedom of press has also been included under Article freedom of expression. Right to information has also been derived from freedom of thought and expression. Right to education is now a legal right. Okay, even a fundamental right, Article 21A. Okay, and even right to food has been included under Article 21. Okay, so this is basically called as expansion of the scope of fundamental or the other rights through judicial interpretations. Judiciary, because for example, when I say that I am going, now you all can understand this I am going sentence in very different forms. You might think that I am going for having water, I'm going for washroom, or any other thing. You can interpret it. That's how the constitution is once written, but interpreted many times. The judges interprets the constitution. By this interpretation, they have expanded the scope of these rights. Okay. Now, rights, even some rights are beyond fundamental rights also. For example, right to property. It is basically not given in fundamental right, but a legal constitutional right. Okay, even right to vote is not mentioned in part 3rd, fundamental right, but is a right only. So there are other rights also apart from fundamental rights only. There is something called as human right also. Okay, human right is basically this last concept of human right we will be discussing in the next class. Okay, and after that we will be moving to the next PPT. Okay, so I will tell you human right what is in the next class, because it's a bit like 5 to 10 minutes it will be taking for me to explain this. Okay, any doubt, online students, offline, any problem?
No, sir. All clear, sir.
Understood now? Enjoying these classes or not? Feeling bored?
Yes, I'm enjoying.
Oh, I thought yes. She is saying yes, and when I asked, feeling bored. Huh?
No, I'm just saying that I'm enjoying.
Ashutosh is feeling bored. Shubhashri is also feeling bored, hai na?
Sir, no, sir, I just said no, I'm not bored, sir.
Not bored. Okay, all right. See, we will be like keeping these classes in interactive form only. For that, you people all will have to take participation. Okay. Okay, let's continue in the next class. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. 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 Bye bye.